Let's be honest, folks, we've all been there. You're home alone on a Friday night, your roommate's out with their significant other, you've already watched all the good shows on Netflix. Suddenly you're reaching for the remote? Okay, maybe not just the remote. Point is, masturbation, it's a thing. A very common thing, actually. It's something that transcends cultures, ages, and backgrounds. So common, it'd be statistically improbable if you haven't, at some point, engaged in a little self-love. It's practically universal. But here's the thing. While perfectly normal and healthy, like most things in life, too much of a good thing can tip the scales from harmless fun to potential problem. Balance is key, and that's where things get interesting. Because moderation is essential in all aspects of life. Because while nobody's judging anyone else's personal time, again, we're all adults here, it's worth understanding how our solo activities might be affecting us mentally. It's about awareness and self-care, and trust me, there's some seriously fascinating science behind it. Studies have shown various impacts on mental health and well-being. Buckle up, Buttercup, because things are about to get both informative and kinda awkward. We're diving deep into the science and psychology of self-love. Okay, so we've established that masturbation is about as common as finding a politician who flip-flops on their promises. It's a natural part of human behavior, something most people engage in at some point in their lives. But what happens when this perfectly normal activity starts to feel less like a choice and more like a chore? When the excitement fades and it becomes just another item on your to-do list? That's right, we're talking about the potential for compulsive behavior. When the urge to masturbate becomes overwhelming and starts to interfere with daily life. And just like with anything we do, to excess eating, working, doom scrolling through Twitter, it can have some not-so-pleasant side effects. Overindulgence in any activity can lead to a range of negative emotions and physical consequences. We're talking about feeling anxious, guilty, or even depressed. These feelings can creep in and take a toll on your mental health, making it harder to enjoy other aspects of life. Some folks report relationship issues, where intimacy with a partner feels less appealing than the predictable routine of, well, you know. This can create a disconnect, leading to feelings of isolation and frustration. Then there's the impact on productivity. When your mind is preoccupied, it's hard to focus on tasks at hand, leading to procrastination and decreased efficiency. That 3 p.m. slump at work? Maybe it's not the lack of caffeine, but the lingering memory of your lunchtime meeting. This distraction can sap your energy and leave you feeling drained. The point is, when we allow any behavior to dominate our lives, it's going to have consequences. It's important to recognize when a habit is becoming harmful and take steps to address it. And masturbation, as natural and enjoyable as it can be, is no exception. Finding a balance is key to maintaining a healthy and fulfilling life. Now, before we go any further, let's get one thing straight. Enjoying your own company every now and then is not a one-way ticket to Therapy Island. It's perfectly normal and healthy to take some time for yourself. It's when this enjoyment morphs into an unhealthy obsession that we need to hit the brakes and reassess. When it starts to interfere with your daily life and responsibilities, that's when it becomes a problem. So, how do you know if you've crossed that line? It's not always easy to tell, but there are some clear signs. Well, if your daily schedule revolves around finding the perfect time for a little me time, that's a red flag. If you find yourself constantly thinking about it, planning for it, or prioritizing it over other important activities, it's time to take a step back. If you're constantly canceling plans, neglecting responsibilities, or feeling like your life is spiraling out of control because of your habits, then it's time to seek professional help. Your well-being and daily functioning should always come first. Remember, there's no shame in asking for help. It's a sign of strength, not weakness. In fact, it's the bravest, most self-aware thing you can do. Taking that first step can make a world of difference. Think of it like this. You wouldn't hesitate to see a doctor for a broken leg, right? Your mental health deserves the same attention and care. Well, your mental health is just as important as your physical health. Taking care of your mind is crucial for overall well-being. Don't be afraid to reach out to a therapist or counselor who can help you get back on track. They're there to support you and guide you through the process. So what's actually happening in our brains when we engage in a little self-gratification? Well, buckle up because we're about to get all sciencey for a minute. When we reach peak pleasure, our brains release a delightful cocktail of dopamine and other feel-good chemicals. This rush of euphoria is basically our brain's way of rewarding us for, well, procreating, or at least going through the motions. The problem is, like any good drug, our brains can become a little too fond of this chemical reward system. Over time, we might find ourselves needing more and more stimulation to achieve the same level of satisfaction. This can lead to a vicious cycle of escalating behavior and increasingly difficult to ignore urges. The good news is, our brains are remarkably adaptable. With a little effort and the right strategies, we can rewire those neural pathways and break free from the grip of compulsive behavior.